very low crouch. It wasn't like that in the Renaissance. It's more of a, not quite full on, but 3/4 on generally. Of course, it's all personal preference. But you use your offhand as a means of defense. It's not back here for balance. It's here. So the other.
Are we talking sort of late 15th century Italian? What sort of
16th, late 16th, early 17th.
late 16th. Right. And this is sort of Italian, or is this both
sorry,
French,
no,
Spanish?
Yeah. Italian.
Yeah. The other thing is that, again, when you see modern fencing, it's done on a piste. It's a very narrow lane. If you go off the lane, you lose points, or the bout is over. Fighting was actually fought in the round with Renaissance, because there's actually flanking attacks and things you can do. To get, because it's all about angulation with the blade. So you can from here you can step. There were moves where you could do what was called the rotate, where you catch your opponent off guard by actually going forward on the rear foot rather than lunging forward foot. All these sorts of things. Yeah. Like that. So, but generally, the other thing is to keep the point on. Again, we're talking about films and things. You see people slashing and moving the point offline. You get yourself killed that way. The idea is to keep the point on line. To make a lunge at me, you move it from here, but see the point's at her throat. So I wouldn't go and do it again. I wouldn't do that. Good in the movies, but it doesn't really work. That's just some of the really basic things there. I don't know what else you want.
Yeah, well,
Blocking quillins, I don't want to ruin the swords, but again, if someone, well, if you make a lunge at me, what you do is you do circular parries, you try to tie up the blade, angle it. I'm not using these. I've got a sword which has actually a shell guard. The shell isn't facing down, the shell faces up. Brilliant, because the opponent's blade slides down, turn your wrist, his blade is now locked in your sword. You're controlling his blade, you can still stab him. So quillins became very elaborate because they could be used for as a means of offense as well as defense.
I mean, this is a longsword, but this is a longsword trainer. And you think of the longsword as being bigger than the rapier. Look at the blade length is actually shorter. This weighs about the same as this, but you have this in 2 hands. So you can move it a lot faster.
It was actually the longsword that evolved into the rapier, wasn't it?
The longsword was before. The rapier actually came from the side sword, which was a shorter, more of a cutting weapon, and it would have been used in conjunction with the buckler that we saw earlier. So, sort of Michelangelo's period.
Can I just point something out that some of you may not have noticed? When they're squaring up to each other, they are not looking at the weapons. That's one of the other things we have to train people. You don't look at the sword. Because actually the sword isn't the dangerous bit. The dangerous bit is what's behind their eyes and between their ears. You watch your opponent, you do not watch their weapon.
Yeah, some people have their own, like I don't usually watch the torso, because all movement has to originate from the torso, any move of the arm. I don't like watching someone's face. Some people are very good at faking you out with their eyes. They'll keep looking down, and you go, oh, they're going to go for my leg, and they don't, they go for your head, so that's not good. Yeah, sure, it's right.
Well, we typically have fencing masks on, so that takes away the eye contact. So what we tend to do is that I tend to have a sort of fuzzy focus around here somewhere. But yes, you are not looking at this. You're thinking about their body language, because that's going to telegraph what they're going to do, hopefully. And if you're a good fencer, you can use that to your advantage. You can feint. You can feint with the sword, you can feint with the foot, you can feint with the hand, you can feint with the body. So I can go for his chest, he goes to parry, and then change the line. So that's something that you would take advantage of. That's what we're sort of saying about the psychology involved. Another thing you can do is create fear by being swaggering and violent, whatever. I did a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and it was on Gigante's self-defense. You think of the rapier as being a pretty beautiful, elegant weapon for the sound, where we just do lovely lunges all the time. But no, people carried them, and they had them for a reason, and that was to defend themselves from ruffians. And there was a girl, she's saying, I can't get this technique to work. And all the technique was cutting on this line here at throat height. So if you've got a load of people coming at you, you whiz this thing round as fast as you can at this throat height thing to slit their throats open, or just make them bugger off.
And that's sort of horizontal.
And she's like, I can't get this thing to work, it's not really working. I said, look, you've got a crazy person, desperate person, whatever, who wants your wallet or your life, or something from you. You have to match that crazy with your own crazy, which is, I'm really fucked up and I'm going to kill you if you don't just piss off. That's what you have to get into your mechanics. That's how you get the thing to work.
This is sort of the origin of the phrase swashbuckler, isn't it? Because in a sort of buckler fight, you would swash your opponent's buckler to make a lot of noise.
Yes.
To try and intimidate.
Yeah,
You also think people like just by smiling at them.
Yes.
This is what we're doing.
When they taught people how to use the buckler, they had a sort of set of plays that they get their students to do over and over again, and they kept asking them to hit it, do these kind of things. Sorry. And I thought, you think, where the hell would you want to bang their buckler? Sorry. It's showy, it's flash, it looks good, but also it's teaching you to keep your sword next to your buckler so that when you're cutting, you're not doing this, stab me in the chest. You're keeping this. That's what I was saying about this being the biggest shield in the world. If he's coming at me, then I'm obviously bigger than the shield, but if I come closer to him, I can close that down.
Yeah.
There's a sort of cone of defence, an invisible cone of defence around this, and there's a cone around your sword about the movement, the range that the sword can cover.
Yeah. And the idea is you want to take your opponent's blade offline,
Yeah.
and then you can't offend you if it's offline.
And that offline really doesn't have to be a very big space at all. All you need is for them to miss, and it doesn't matter if they miss by an inch or a mile. In fact, it's better for them to miss by an inch because that does not then give them room to develop a second strike.
Yeah. And the other thing we haven't really mentioned is also fighting distance, which is absolutely crucial. A lot of beginners they misjudge. So when you start the bout, you should not be close enough. If Fran extends, you should not be able to see, I'm too close. I should never be that close to start a bout. See, and then if she moves towards me, I have to continue back up.
And you can't move back as fast as I can move forward.
However,
So
you can move
eventually
very
I'm
quickly
gonna
apparently when you come at us with swords.
We were saying about the smallest, you want to make them miss by the smallest amount. This is a dagger. It's used in conjunction with rapier. They were banned in several city-states for various reasons, mainly that people were killing each other too much. So people took on the cloak, and you have cloak and dagger as a saying. But what its primary function was in terms of using the rapier is to parry. It's not you can stab people with it, but if goes to thrust me, don't have to get her at hand. It's just there, catch it. I'm not going, oh, go away, because then that's just a huge thing to hit me.
That's right, she's off balance at that point, and if I drop...
Yeah, he can just go around it, so I'm hoping he's going to thrust at me, so that I can just catch it. Now we're going to go through. So that's what companion weapons are for. This is a waster of a great sword.
I'm leaving.
Same period of time as the rapier. Yeah. But I called it, you see these in films, and one of the bugbears that we were talking about last night is you see people with these things on their backs. Yes, you would carry a great sword on your back, but you wouldn't draw it from there in a fight because I'm little anyway, but while you're drawing your sword. sword, the guy stabbing you in the chest. But the typical person who would carry one of these is not the Lord of the Realm like in the Song of Ice and Fire. It's a nice sword, but their actual purpose is crowd control. You can hit a lot of people with one at the same time. I've got some pictures that someone posted to my timeline this morning of some guys, even Adrian's height, they're as big as him, and they're much bigger, the quills come out to here. The type of person who would carry this would be a bodyguard, or someone who's there to protect the standard for a company.
And they also use them against pipe blocks.
Yeah, they're designed to go against polearms.
So you would basically be the guy that got double pay. You went first against the pipe block to try and hack as many of those pipes down, so that everyone else could get in. And it was enormously dangerous, but you got a lot of money. Well, can I?
Yeah. I
was going to, because I'm a very poor student of sword, so I'm an even worse teacher. If I could borrow your favour, I'll just show you the basics of the German broadsword technique that we use. This is going back 100, 200 years from the rapier. Yeah, it's translation from German. This is I think, one of the earliest styles that we really have sort of complex woodcuts for to show how they fought. And what it's absolutely evident from the beginning is this is not, as you say, hack and slash, charging in, sort of Viking pillage, whatever. This is the end point of an extremely long process of people learning how to use the swords economically, not to be hit. Lichtenauer, who is the sword master this apparently all came from, and who had a society of people who had names like Dietrich the Dagger Fighter of Braunschweig, and other Dungeons and Dragons sounding characters who were all apparently real people who were students of Lichtenauer. He's developed a sword style which relies on a small number of offensive strikes and defensive positions, most of which are counters to the other, and relies on you being as defended as possible every time you strike. This is your basic stance. So again, you're square on, like you were talking with the earlier rapier before it degenerates into sports fencing. Square on. This is your normal start position, because from here you can deliver the strongest offensive stroke, which is called the Zornhau, the stroke of wrath.
You've got Anglo-sounding names.
You have Fulug, which is plough, which is your defensive guard. This is the cone of protection that Fran was talking about. It's absolutely key to this style. You have plough, ox, plough, ox, and at that point my tip is directed towards the opponent, and I'm protecting myself from any potential strike that comes in. And so from here I can sideways strike there, Krumpau, the crooked stroke, which is used against this strike because you don't have that much strength against a strike, against that direction of force. Scheitelhau, the scalp strike, and if I can get it right, Schielhau, which is the squinting strike, usually with a false edge of the blade, and it's used against this defensive plough because it kind of comes in over it to protect the body. It's essentially, it's a very simple system. It's very comprehensive for fighting with this particular weapon in this particular manner. And like all sword fighting styles, it works best when you're fighting with someone else who knows it. One of the things, there's an English fencing writer, John Silver. It's John Silver, isn't it?
George Silver.
Sorry. And this is something I'm getting from Fran's husband, here Marco. But it's a fantastic example of whatever happened to the good old days. It's an English swordsman complaining mostly about the Italians.
He was a sun reader of his time.
Yes. his maxim was basically you can't call yourself a master swordsman unless you can hold yourself up against 3 other swordsmen, 3 drunk swordsmen, and 3 stout English yeomen who have no training with the blade. And, and the truth in that idea is it's often far more dangerous to be fighting someone who does not know how to use a sword, because you don't know what they're going to do. The whole, when you were dealing with a particular style and a particular stance, the enemy's options are to a certain extent condensed into what that style is focused on.
That's actually very interesting, because the 7 saburo, 7 basic forms for a Japanese sword. I mean, Adrian, I think you'll probably find these quite familiar. That is first form. That is second form. I'm going to make myself very unpopular in the room there. If anyone has a problem with sudden loud noises, put your hands over your ears. Hey! And that's the other thing, you can startle people just by shouting. And then you get repetitive striking, which again, it's all down the midline. And then I go backwards, and that's not a fencing step. That is sumiashi, which is a Japanese move.
Human beings are the same
Yes.
world over.
And then we have the defensive side strike. And you'll notice that I'm terrifying this poor lady. Always focus on an opponent. It's great to fight in a dojo with mirrors, because you can be your own opponent. And what we then have is not taking a chunk out the ceiling. Thrusts. And you will notice that I'm going for the eyes or the throat. But if you see the basic underlying principles, it's actually very similar to what Adrian was doing.
So then a lot of people in our class are also martial artists, and I think the human body has a certain set of mechanics and a certain set of way of producing mechanical advantage.
Is this
Okay.
thing she was hitting with the object and thing? Is there starting class to fight in close, like really tight corridors?
Yes.
That
there are.
big sword, the Spadoni, the Great Sword, there's a book by a chap called Alfieri, and in one of the chapters it tells you how to fight in a corridor with it.
Yeah, because otherwise if they're taking this castle, siege, you're going to get a lot.
Yeah.
So
You
I
can
understand
cut
you.
someone's
Right.
throat with the There's a lot of stuff
Okay.
about that.
Over the shoulder?
Yeah, go for the head like that. Right. Again, I am getting as close to the safe end of the weapon as possible. I am getting her face. I'm getting the weapon away from me. And I'm doing a variety of painful things I won't to get the knife off her. Now, I have the knife. Straightforward stab. Yeah. Again, get to the safe end. Okay, then. I have the knife.
In Jitsu, the one knife block I learned to do it very long, the hand is actually put flat out in front of me. You're trying to sort of block like that, but this is just so if I don't get it, at least it's stabbing my hand rather
Yeah,
than me.
sacrifice the hand.
Cut is better than stabbed. Stabbed is better than dead.
Yeah.
Right. Hold a knife to your throat. This one's even better if I'm up against a wall. And I have the knife.
Yay!
And if you do it up against a wall, so yes, if you know what you're doing, you're damsel in distress. And this is actually the sort of thing that if you've got a princess who is likely to be kidnapped and find herself thoroughly damseled, that's what you want to train her.
So, I do want to add that you've never had the misfortune to see an actual knife attack it's very rarely this.
Oh yes.
Mm.
It's usually, you'll chat to Adrian
Yeah.
for a bit. Talk to Adrian.
Oh yes. Hello, Adrian. Yes. Do the
typical
the
night club.
gut, the sort of stabby, swipey thing that people do. Again, you just want to get to the safe end of the weapon as soon as possible. But yes,
Although, alongside the period of the sword style I was discussing, they have a dagger style there, and it is this theatrical villain.
It's like a
sort
shower
of-
scene
yeah.
stab. Yeah.
But the reason for that is you can put more power
Yeah.
in a blow like that, and the idea is if you're fighting someone in armour, and you're in armour, you're trying to basically stab them here and get through the thinner armour around the neck.
I heard about a chap who's an artist, I've got his name out. I'll find it later. He does beautiful, beautiful sculptures of men with lovely bottoms. And he was also a murderer. And he did what we did now. He and a load of his friends killed a guy in a public square, like crowd of people talking. They just went up to him and shanked him. And in the frenzy, one guy was stabbing so hard, he stabbed himself through his own leg.
Yep.
And if you see, I saw a video yesterday of two guys in Peru, I think it was. They had kitchen knives and they had a dispute they wanted to settle. And one thing that sort of springs to mind is under a pressure of an adrenaline situation, either a tournament or a real fight, all your fancy techniques will disappear and you will sink to the basic level of your training. So if you only want to train in one thing, make sure it's useful. So what they tend to do,
this classic
Yeah.
sliding upwards stroke.
but yeah, the overhand monkey grip,
Yeah.
the ice pick thing, is what people do when they're panicking or when they're really, really fired up. Your vision shrinks to a tiny window. You only see what's right in front of you, and that's when this
Also,
I just want to say they actually have that in the manuals, because the training sequence I put in my book is based on sequences for manuals where they actually trained you, the rapier fighters and so on, to defend against that very simple attack.
the other
Yeah.
one is that, which is of course also the classic glasses are all bottle.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so what you do with that is you simply keep the bow going.
You know, if someone is going to stab you, even if it's from the front, it's not going to be at this nice, pleasant, demonstrative speed. It's going to be much, much faster and much, much harder than you think. And I've read accounts of like when you are stabbed, it feels like you've been punched. It just feels like you've been
I remember
hit.
reading an article from a policeman who'd been stabbed, and he said it felt like being hit with a cricket bat. Yeah.
It feels like a bloody
Yeah, a stabbing pain does not feel like a stabbing pain.